Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so yesterday I was having a mini training with my mothers inside my program, and there were a few questions from my parents, from the moms, that whether they should, because they want to get another child right after their autism child, so they wanted my advice whether they should move forward and go forth with having another child after their autism child. So since I have had a very fruitful discussion with them, I thought this will be really helpful to make a separate live for you, my audience, because I am pretty much sure this question goes into the mind of many parents, many parents, because just like me or you might not be the only child of your parent. So you have had siblings growing up, and you know the importance and support that siblings give to us, to our growth and development, and feeling like we have a place in the world. So if you are a mom or a dad thinking about getting pregnant or becoming parent again, so this is the right place for you to be. So today we are going to be talking about how you can make the decision, why you should make the decision to have another child, and how you can prepare yourself, your body, your emotion, and your family to welcome the next child. Okay, inshallah. So we will be diving all of that, so stick until the very end of this live, and if you are listening this on replay, stick until the very end, because I'm going to give you a lot of guidelines on how you can make sure that you become really ready physically, mentally, and emotionally to welcome your next child right after your autism child. So the first question that I usually get, or I think that you have in your mind, is what is the need of siblings for our autism child? Okay, so the first thing is, whether your child is neurodiverse or not, the importance of having siblings is manyfold. Why? Because when your child has another sibling, your child actually needs to learn to develop communication skills, because your child will be kind of forced into the family situation of needing to communicate with the other sibling, right? So let's say you want your child is having neurodevelopmental delays like speech, communication, behavior, and things like that, and you want to improve them. So if your child is going to a school, okay, if your child is going to a special school, the thing is, schools are for or just a particular time, right? Let's say from 8 to 2 or 8 to 5 or stuff like that. So after that, after coming back from school, your child, son or daughter on the spectrum, they actually have a lot of extra time which goes unused, okay, which mostly goes unused because maybe, after the day is done, we are tired, we are feeling like, down and out. We don't have the energy to teach them new things. We don't have the energy to move them forward with their education and whatnot. So there, the sibling will really help. So with my example, I have seen myself that Muhammad, alhamdulillah, developed a lot of understanding and communication after Ira was born. Okay, not right after, because right after Ira was born, he became a little competitive. Okay, he became a little competitive. He was annoyed with the newborn, and I had to learn to cope with all of those. But once he started accepting his sibling, then actually his speech started developing better. His communication started developing better, because Ira, when she started talking, she would force Muhammad to speak, right? So this is one of the great additions that I have seen that, siblings really bring to the table. And also the fact that even if the next sibling is neurotypical, your child will have the authentic way of developing developing the communication and the development of other stuff that is needed for survival and thriving in the world. Because the world that we live in is neurotypical, in nature mostly, because there is just 1% of us in this world of about 8 billion people. So 1% means like 80 million neurodiverse people in the world, right? So mostly, since the world is made up of neurotypical people, the neurodiverse kids and adults needs to understand the world, needs to be able to communicate with the world, and survive and thrive throughout the life. Okay, all right, so moving on to the next point. Siblings actually also help to provide another support system for your autism child. Okay, provided the sibling is also healthy and happy himself or herself, right? So the thing is, let's say if I am not there, so Ira can actually take care of her brother quite a lot. She can make sure that he is being taken care of. She can make sure that he is doing his work in life and moving forward properly, right? So definitely a sibling acts as a additional support system along with the parent, and then the parent also feels like, if I am not there, there is someone who is the blood of my autism kid, and then there is someone who can take care of my daughter or son, right? So I personally feel that I have made the right decision to have my third child right after Muhammad, because even if there are lots of questions whether you should have another child, what if my other child is autistic too, how can I ensure that I am moving forward in a more prepared way? So which is why this discussion today will be really giving you a lot of tips and tricks and guidelines to move you forward with your decision in life. Okay, all right. So hello Holly, how are you doing? I see a lot of people coming in. Idris Ahmed, assalamu alaikum. Faria Sabapu, assalamu alaikum. She's and Mahbubapu also, and also Apurbapu. Wow, thank you so much for being with me. All right, so the third point that I want to talk about is, will your next child be autistic or not? Or will your next child have autism or not? All right, so to have the answer of that question, you need to first understand, is autism 100% genetic or not? To answer that question, I have done research, I have done discussion, and I have done my own research, moving through various big, huge Facebook groups, Instagram groups, communities, autism communities, and things in between. And I have found out that if autism was predominantly genetic, then the parents would have been autistic too. Then all the siblings of all the autism kids would be autistic too. The thing is, autism is not predominantly genetic in nature. It is epigenetic in nature. What do we mean by epigenetic in nature? We mean by that is your child, whether your child will be, autism kid or not, your second child, the child after your autism kid, that next child will be autistic or not, that will depend on quite a few points, I would say. Okay, the first point being the emotional condition of the mom when she is conceiving the child, the physical state of the mom when she is conceiving and going forth with the parenthood of the mom, the environmental situation she is in while she is pregnant and after birth, the nutritional and gut health of the mom while she is pregnant and breastfeeding the child, and also whether the child whether the child is having a beautiful family support system around or not. So all of those factors actually affects whether a child has autistic trait or not, whether that child has greater tendency to have neurodiversity or not. So I always say this to everyone that I come across, and that is neurodevelopmental delay is not caused due to neurodiverse brain. Again, let me repeat. Neurodevelopmental delay does not happen because of neurodiversity. Neurodiversity is a different form of, it's a little bit like Apple and Windows operating system. Both can actually work very well, and both can give you the results you want. Both can give you the support you need for your all computer needs. But Apple works differently, a little differently than Windows. So Windows is what neurotypical people. Windows is everywhere, very easy to operate. Everybody understands Windows. But Apple is selective, and Apple is used by people who understand how to handle Apple. Okay? So Apple is the example for our neurodiverse kids. So what I'm saying is, just because your child has neurodiversity or will have neurodiversity does not mean your child is destined to become disabled, is destined to have neurodevelopmental delay. Why? Because neurodevelopmental delays happens when the body and the brain is not progressing as much as it should be. When the body and the brain, when the gut and the brain, the body and the brain is not progressing as it should be based on the age of the child, then there will be neurodevelopmental delays. Okay? Delays like speech, communication, behavior, social cues, not understanding how to behave and react with others and people, all of those things does not necessarily come with neurodiversity, or they are not necessarily disability, unless they severely restrict the life of the child. If the developmental delays are severely restricting the life of the child, then it becomes a problem. Apart from that, what you need to know is, if your child have neurodiversity, it's totally fine. You just need to learn to operate that and to help that system to cope with the world. Like me, I usually avoid Apple products. Although Apple is like worldwide, very posh, everybody loves it, everybody wants to buy an iPhone. My husband and my sister has been brush firing me since the dawn of time that why don't I get an iPhone, okay? So for me, I feel like iPhone is a little hard to handle and manage. And for my brain, iPhone feels like a little tedious. It feels like a little more work, okay? So iPhone might be really easy for you, but it might not be easy for me to handle. But does that mean iPhone is wrong? No. iPhone just might not be right for me because I don't know how to operate that system. So in answer to will your next child be autistic or not, there is no guarantee and there is no proof. And I have seen many parents having the firstborn with autism, but the other kids not having autism. I have seen the firstborn neurotypical, but the second one neurodiverse, autism. So I have seen many different ways. For me, my first son was neurotypical, then Muhammad, neurodiverse, autism, then my third kid, neurotypical. And I myself am neurodiverse. So a lot of my clients who comes to me and works with me, they are neurotypical as well. And I have seen in my own research that majority of the parents of neurodiverse kids are actually neurotypical themselves. So if you are neurotypical, if you are a neurotypical parent and then you want to get pregnant again and you want to become father again, that it not necessarily mean that your next child right after your autism child will have autism, because autism is not a disease. It's not like your wife's uterus has a disease which makes diseased kids and then if she gets pregnant again, she will produce another diseased kid. It's not like that. So autism is not a disease, it's a disorder which comes, which starts, which gets worse, which progresses because of the physical condition of the mom, the physical condition of the kid, the brain development, the brain condition of the child, the pregnancy situation of the mom, the parenting of the mom right after birth, how she's doing, how she's eating, how she's breastfeeding, how she's feeling emotionally, and everything in between. So it's not like, it's a lot like a giant, you know, like puzzle kind of thing. Remember we play Ludo? We usually, you know, move the button and then we throw just to find if we get the 6 or not, if we get the 1 or not. So having kids is a lot like a takdir kind of game. Okay, so if you want your child, if you want another child, let's not be scared, let's not be super scared and upset, because sometimes it happens. Sometimes a mom might have multiple neurodiverse kids without understanding that she's neurodiverse herself, or without understanding the lifestyle, the physical situation of herself, of her body and mind and emotional health is affecting the child's progress as well. Okay, so moving on, since we know that if you have one child on the spectrum, it does not necessarily mean your next child will be on the spectrum, and you have actually a pretty wide and pretty big percentage of chance that your next child will be normal, healthy, growing, progressing faster, progressing age-wise, developmenting, having no developmental delays, or maybe progressing to the age categories, right? So there is a big possibility that your next child will be healthy and happy and successful. And if your current child is neurodiverse, has autism, that also does not mean this child will be suffering all throughout the life. It's not like that. Your child needs additional support. Your spectrum child needs specific support, specific health, specific emotional health, physical health, mental health, and parenting support to help your autism kid's brain develop faster, so that your autism kid can actually understand the world, can survive as well as thrive and be successful. Okay, so since we have answered the question, will your next child be autistic or not, there is a huge chance that he won't be. There is a huge chance that he won't be, inshallah, or she won't be, inshallah. So now that you know that you can make the decision, the fourth point that I want to talk now is how to make the decision to move forward with becoming pregnant again or becoming a parent again. All right, even for any natural birth, any normal progress, we want the mom to be physically strong, and you know, we need the mom to be physically well, healthy. We need the mom to be emotionally healthy. We need the father to be pretty supportive, understanding, and loving and caring to the mother. Because whether you modern people accept this or not, pregnancy in fact is actually a very sensitive time. Pregnancy is a very sensitive time. It needs sensitivity, it needs extra attention, it needs extra love and care. A lot of the time we get caught up with the work, we get caught up with life, we get caught up with parenting, with career. I'm not saying to pause your career, to stop everything and just become a couch potato. It's not like that. It's about learning to balance. It's about learning to balance your life so that you have enough rest, so that you have enough mental capacity to become mother again, to become father again. Because if you are a parent of a child on the spectrum who is severe, who is having very poor quality of life, then you won't be able to sleep, you won't be able to be relaxed, and then you will be always angry and cranky, and that environment will affect both the child on the spectrum and the child who is going to be coming to your life. You see what I mean? I hope you understand. Let me know in the comment if this is resonating with you, if you have any question, or if you're not understanding any of my point, because I would really love to elaborate more if you are not understanding. But so far, if you have made the decision that you want, okay, let's try, let's have faith and move forward with wanting to be mother again, wanting to be father again, then I have a few guidelines for you, okay, which has helped me, which is helping my parents, which is helping all parents in the world, okay? All right, so the fifth point that I'm gonna be talking about is getting ready for the next child. Okay, so now that you have decided, you need to have 100% faith on yourself, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or your Lord, or your God. Whoever you accept as the deity you worship, you have to accept that he has nothing but the best interest at heart. Your Lord, your Allah, don't want you to struggle, don't want you to suffer. He doesn't actually want you to suffer and be in pain, be in distress all the time. All Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all God wants for us is that we are happy, is that we are praying to Him, is that we are bowing in front of Him, is that we are helping others, and we are moving forward as humanity. That's all Allah wants from us. That's all Allah wants from us. Allah doesn't want us suffering. So suffering is mostly human made. If you are eating pesticide-filled fruits and vegetables, if you are smoking, if you are drinking, if you are eating junk food, if you are sleeping at 2 a.m. at night and waking up in the morning, running around like a zombie, then obviously you won't be physically ready, mentally and emotionally ready for becoming pregnant again, for becoming a parent again. Definitely. Because pregnancy is a lot like gardening. If you sow a seed in a soil that is deficient in nutrients and filled with weeds, then you won't have a healthy plant. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying neurodiversity is unhealthy. What I'm saying is, if your child is suffering, if your child is unhealthy physically, mentally, emotionally, if your child is lagging behind, then that means there are some barriers inside of the body which, when overcome, will help the child move forward. Because I am a neurodiverse myself. I am never going to be lowering myself in front of others. Never. I am not going to be lowering my kid on the spectrum in front of others. Because I value neurodiversity as much, if not more, than neurotypicality. Because in this world we are already very few, we need to be strong, we need to be capable, we need to be understanding the world and communicate with the world, just how the world communicate. For example, if you speak English and I am speaking to you in French and you won't understand, does that make me a moron? No, it just makes that, it just sends that I am speaking a language that you don't understand. There is a difference. So you should not be confused between what is actually appropriate and what not. So coming back to the fact that about gardening, if you want your child to be physically healthy, emotionally strong, mentally happy, progressing, growing forward, not having developmental delays, even if your child is neurodiverse, does not mean developmental delays are mandatory, like we are told all the time. There can be setbacks, but you have all the power in your hands to learn how to overcome them. That's the beauty. That's actually the beauty, and that's what we teach inside Autism Success Academy. Day in, day out, month in, month out, for the last 2.5 years. Okay? So the first thing that you need to do is, let's say I want to be pregnant again after Muhammad. So first I have to accept neurodiversity. First I have to accept my son. First I have to accept that if there is a chance that my second or third or the child after my autism child will be autistic, then I am good enough. Then I am still okay. Then I will still be okay. Because if there is fear inside of you, then I would rather say that banish that fear first and then decide to be becoming a parent again. Why? Because like attracts like. If you fear something constantly, even unconsciously, subconsciously, you are going to attract that thing in your life, because our feelings decides our thoughts decides our actions, and our actions decides our reality. For example, if I am scared, if I am sure that, okay, so since my first son or first daughter or last kid has autism, definitely my next one will be autism or will have autism. Definitely. That means you are sure that your child will be having the traits, okay? If you accept the traits, it's fine. If you do not accept the trait, then what will happen is you will have a lot of push and pull inside your body. A part of your brain will say move forward, a part of brain will say stop, because this is pain. And remember, our brain is still prehistoric in nature. The hippocampus part of our brain that is related to survival still is in survival mode all the time. So when you are maybe facing a little unsurety, your body and brain cannot differentiate whether you are standing in front of a tiger or not. Your body will start producing cortisol. Your body will start producing all the nasty hormones to prepare you for fight, flight, fawn. And then what happens? And then you are just not having the day of your life, not having the life that you want, because your fear and belief has created the reality. So let's say if I am sure my son is this time, if I was sure, because let's say Muhammad was told by every doctors that we went that he will be not talking, that he will be not having communication because he had severe disabilities, right? If I believed in those doctors, then I wouldn't have done the research, I wouldn't have tried to improve the condition, and then Muhammad wouldn't have been having this life that he's having right now. All because I believed that he had more potentiality. So what you believe helps you to achieve that in your life. If you believe you have that capacity, if you believe your child has that capacity, if you believe your next child will have that capacity to be successful, then voila, you are going to be producing successful babies, inshallah. Just as clear as that, because you have that faith, and that faith will move you forward rather than stick you at the back of your house or heart. You see what I mean? So have that faith that the next child will be awesome, will be successful, will be happy and healthy, and then physically get ready for that. If do a thorough checkup, do a physical thorough checkup to make sure that you have all the nutrients, you're not deficient in any big nutrients, take all the supplements, eat balanced nutrition. If you have hormonal troubles, I don't actually advise hormonal pills and supplement, because your body has the capacity to produce hormones like it was before. The reason why you're not producing or overproducing certain hormones is just because your brain, your mind is pushing the body to do so. Because of the unhealed trauma, because of unhealed emotional state, because of the beliefs that you have, and because of the state that you are in all the time. If you are perpetually stressed, you will eat sugar. If you eat sugar, you will have more candida. If you have more candida, you will have less good bacteria. If you have less good bacteria, your digestion will be less. If your digestion is less, then you will be producing more toxins. And your toxins will affect the child in your body, and your toxins will definitely affect if you're breastfeeding. Do you see what I mean? So if you want to make the decision, go forward, have faith, prepare your body, prepare your mind, prepare you emotionally, and also talk to your husband whether he's actually ready or not, and then get pregnant. A lot of the time, some moms does this. They get pregnant without actually discussing it with the husband. I would strongly suggest against it. Both parents need to be ready to bring the child into the world, because your child needs both parents, whether he is autistic or not, whether he or she is neurotypical or not. A child needs both parents, because a child needs both gender, because each gender brings in different life lessons into the table. A mom will teach certain aspects to a girl and certain aspects to a boy. A father will teach certain aspects to her girl and certain aspects to his boy. Right? So both parents are needed to be present fully. And it's also one of the reasons I request both parents to be present during our clarity call, because it's not just about the mother running forward only alone. It's the duty of the father as well. The father's duty is not just earning money and then, okay, I'm done. Usually fathers don't do that as well. They need to be understanding. The fathers need to be educated. The fathers educated in the sense, I'm not saying that the fathers need to be educated. The fathers need to be learning more about the spectrum. The fathers need to be learning more about developmental delays. The fathers need to learn more about pregnancy, more about how to ensure that his wife is physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and healthy, to make sure that the pregnancy is safe. The pregnancy is a bliss. Because if during pregnancy, if you go through emotional trauma and you haven't dealt with those trauma, you haven't dealt with those stress, you haven't dealt with those emotions, guess what? Those emotions get stuck in your nervous system and they keep on saying like ping, 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 until you remove that emotion from the system. So our subconscious brain is 95% powerful, and the conscious brain with which I'm talking, with which we mix with people and do our daily life, is just 5%. Only 5% of the brain is conscious brain, is what we use. The 95% of the brain, the mind, is subconscious. And if there are beliefs in the subconscious, then you are doomed. Because the subconscious is the operating system of the computer. Your subconscious is the operating system of you and your life. So if you have beliefs, if you have faiths, the wrong kind, if you have overload of emotions, then you are just a walking, talking minefield. A single trigger can make you explode. A single trigger can make you unstable. A single trigger can make you and your family very, very unhappy. Very unhappy. So it is to all of us, all of us have responsibility for ourselves first and then others. A lot of times we think that I am a mom, I have to be a martyr, I have to only think about my children. No. You have to first think about yourself. Why? Because if you don't think about yourself, if you don't eat properly, sleep properly, if you don't feel nice, then you won't be a very awesome mom. You won't be a very awesome wife. You won't be a very awesome daughter, because every single work will feel like crucifixion to you. Moving forward in life will feel like crucifixion to you, because your system is overloaded with poison, with emotion, with negative trauma. So you need to be as present for yourself as you have to be present for your child, as you have to be present for your other kids, as you have to be present for your husband and all the relations that we have, because we are multifaceted. Human beings are multifaceted, right? So as a wrap up, if you are thinking or contemplating whether you should get pregnant or whether you should have another child after your autism kid, I want to say that you can. It's beautiful. It will help your child on the spectrum. It will also help you, but you have to be physically, emotionally, mentally, financially prepared for the other child. Okay? You have to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially prepared for the other child, because if you are not physically healthy, then you might not have a strong and successful and healthy pregnancy or birth, right? If you are not emotionally strong, then a single bit of unrest will make you very stressed, and your stress will affect your child inside of you and also the child on the spectrum, because children until the age of 7, they are like sponges. Children until the age of 7 are like sponges. So they soak up every single emotion, every single frequency, every single energy in their environment. Okay? Your child is a sponge. The thing is, we feel that kids don't matter, that kids don't see things, kids don't understand things, it's bogus. Your child understands things sometimes even more than you do. Your child understands things sometimes more than you do. So you have to be very careful for that. And if you are a parent who has a child with severe disabilities and you want to help your child, and also to make sure that you are knowing everything that you should know to be able to prepare yourself for the other kid, you can join us. You can join Autism Success Academy, because just like the training that I did yesterday, I do constant trainings and improvements for my parents all throughout the time that they are with us during the program. Okay? So my teammate is watching with us. I would ask my teammate, my husband Yasir, to please pop our hotline number in the chat now, so that parents who wants to know more about us, wants real help, wants help that can really help them achieve the dreams, can contact us, can learn more about us, and can join our program, because we can give you the absolute best services and knowledge and guidelines that you need for yourself and your kid. And if you are watching this on replay, give me a hashtag replay, share this with others, and I would definitely love you to have as a subscriber, because this is going to be in YouTube as well. And I will see you in the next one. Let me know if you have more questions. I'll see you in the next one.